People, how are you? It's Makeda Valletta. I'm just walking home from the gym in my neighborhood in Chicago, and I decided, you know what, let me just show them a little bit of how nice some of these neighborhoods are. So, you know, as I said, I'm from New York, but I live in Chicago. This is a neighborhood on the north side. One of the things that I like about Chicago is the diversity in architecture. I was about to say agriculture, architecture, and the fact that they mix houses and buildings. As you see, this neighborhood is very diverse. It's equal parts black, white, Asian, Jewish, Hispanic families. Also, a lot of these houses have big porches. They're big single family homes. And this neighborhood is really beautiful, but it's not the most beautiful one in Chicago. Chicago has a lot of beautiful neighborhoods with some of the best architecture that I've seen. It looks like there was like a competition of architects in this city. And then I think I learned that that was the case. And so I love balconies and I love porches. Like I don't see any point of having a house without having a big porch. And I love apartments with big balconies, and there's a lot of that in Chicago. Also, there's a lot of greenery here. So, this is only one block, of course, not the best block or whatever. But there, in the summertime and the spring, there are all kinds of herbs and flowers and plants growing. There are bunny rabbits that hop around all around here, which I absolutely love. And so this is a neighborhood way in the north side. Actually, I'm as far north as you can get before you're out of the city into a suburb called Evanston, which is where the Northwestern University is at. I'm close to Loyola University. So up there, you probably can't see, there's a train. Probably couldn't see it. And so these houses are huge. And this is not even the prettiest block. I just walked down a random block. There are blocks with way bigger houses. I'm gonna walk down another block. The block in front of me has some restaurants with outdoor seating, and it's a really diverse group. But I'm not gonna walk that way. No, the houses are really huge, and the apartments are really huge here too. And not just huge, but the architecture is nice. You know what? I'm gonna walk down. I think I'm gonna keep walking down the block where the restaurants are, and you'll see how diverse the people are. You see the train coming, we're approaching the train station. And so here, you'll see such mixed groups of people. And so every time I've heard people say that Chicago's one of the most segregated cities, I don't agree with that, because I feel like every city is segregated in the world. There's not a city in the world that doesn't have segregation problems, not one. But like when I'm in a city like DC, which I spend a lot of time in, DC and Atlanta, I never see black and white people hanging out with each other. In DC, all the groups of friends I know, they're all black. There's no white people in the group. When I go to restaurants in DC, I see a group of white friends, a group of black friends. Black and white people do not seem to interact in DC at all. In Atlanta, white and black people act like they're invisible to each other. It's like restaurants, are usually all black or all white. But in Chicago, I see mixed groups of friends all the time. And I see mixed couples all the time. So it's not to say that there isn't segregation, because there is, but like I said, what city in the world, not just the US, but in the world, doesn't have segregation issues? Hello, huh? Thank you, I appreciate it. Have a good day. So one of the reasons, well, yeah, mostly on the north side is diverse, yes. Because I feel like black people from Chicago, you guys act like you have PTSD from like you guys are stuck in the 60s. Because like a lot of black Chicago people won't move out of the south side or the west side. Like you can move to better areas, but people instead leave the city instead of moving to a nicer part of the city. I don't really understand that. But this is, yeah, like outdoor seating for some restaurants and bars over here. It's funny because the whole reason why I was going to film this video at first was because of, this dude ran up to me and I was leaving the gym. And dudes in Chicago remind me of dudes in New York in terms of the aggressiveness. It's just that some Chicago dudes scare me though. They're like a little scary because there's a lot of people in the city that's a little off. So hold up. So this is a beautiful little outdoor area right here. I don't know if you can see all kinds of things growing. See a mixed group of friends over there. You got people sitting in this outdoor little garden seated area. Very nice. I love all the flowers and plants and greenery that grows in this city. It's very, very peaceful. Okay. Chicago is actually a very peaceful city. And I mean, of course, yes, there's violence, but I feel like that's blown out of proportion. Not to say that, you know what, I'm not gonna walk down this block. Hold on. This is a prettier block. It's not to say that the violence isn't real, but most people, when you ask them what's the murder capital, they say Chicago. But every year, since before I moved here in 2017, and every year since I've moved here and before, I will look at the list of the most dangerous cities in the country, most violent. Chicago's never in the top 20, okay? But Atlanta is. Baltimore being the top 3. DC, a lot of times, places above Chicago, if you can believe it or not. But definitely Milwaukee, which is an hour north, be like in the top 6. Detroit and St. Louis, they're the ones that flip-flop each year for number 1. You have definitely Oakland, and there's a lot of cities that are above Chicago. So the violence is real, but this ain't the only city with that problem, okay? There's a level of ignorance in the city, though, that exists that I don't understand, so I just stay where I stay. I'm not a big fan of the south side and the west sides of Chicago, where it is mostly Afro-American. Like, there are black people in this neighborhood, but they're mostly Africans. West African, East African, and Caribbeans. But the Caribbean people that live over here, a lot of times I think they're American. I wouldn't know that they were Dominican or Haitian if they didn't tell me, because they don't have their flags up like they do in New York. Me being from New York, hold on, let me flip this camera over. Like, I do love a nice city, a big city, a beautiful city, but I like to see people. I like life. So I like this neighborhood because this is very diverse and there's a lot of movement. The thing about the south side and the west sides of Chicago, a lot of Chicago can be very desolate. I can't do the desolate. But yeah, so how we're walking, you see these big trees, big broad sidewalks. I mean, there are definitely some neighborhoods in Chicago that are, like yesterday, I'm always discovering neighborhoods that are so freaking gorgeous. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, San Francisco is beautiful. DC, I think, is beautiful. I'm talking about in terms of architecture. New Orleans, but I feel like Chicago's architecture is better than all of those cities because you'll, like, you know, in all those cities I named, you'll find like one kind of theme to the architecture, but in Chicago, it's like very diverse. And like I said, this is just a couple of blocks. There are places in the city that is like so breathtaking. And I don't even feel like the way it looks on this camera does it any justice. So over the next few days, as I walk to and from the gym, I'll probably take different routes and record different videos just to show you You know, walk down different blocks. But it's something that, again, if you ever have the opportunity to come here, I think you should go to as many neighborhoods as possible. And I wouldn't be afraid to come because I've been living here for 4 years, like I said. Like me being from New York, I'm used to crazy people, right? But the crazy people I've come across in Chicago have been a little bit scarier. See these houses across the street. But yeah, the men here, actually, I love these big balconies. That's one thing about New York, there's not a lot of balconies. And a lot of these apartments that you don't see balconies in the front, they're in the back of the apartments. See, this neighborhood is a neighborhood called Rogers Park. It's by Loyola University, right next to the lake. Like the next block is the lake. It's close to a suburb called Evanston, okay, where Northwestern is. Yeah, Chicago is. So, as I was saying, the men here are like New York men. They're aggressive. They don't care if you're on the phone. Yeah, Chicago does have the best food. I agree. Very good food here. Love to eat here. Look at that, a family now. So, see, got that whole Latina family. It's so funny though, being a woman, because I'm not the kind of woman that is naive or mad at men when they're being men, because, you know, as a woman, sometimes it can be annoying when you're walking down the street and dudes are talking to you and bothering you. But I told myself a long time ago, I didn't want to complain about that because it's annoying. But for the girls who don't have men ever saying anything to them, because there's people who days and weeks and years go by and no one ever compliments them. Like, I would rather have the problem of people complimenting me and being a bit annoying than not, right? So I think about it that way. But, you know, and it's hot out here. It was sunny earlier, so I'm always trying to get as much of my sun exposed to this, much of my skin exposed to the sun as possible, even though the sun is going down now. But I don't dress like this to get attention. I don't. I dress like this because I'm hot and because it's good for my health, for my sun to touch my skin. But at the same time, even though I don't dress like this to get attention, and I don't knock women who do at all. That's nature. But I understand that it's going to happen sometimes. So when it happens, you know, but some dudes could be a little scary when they run up to you. And like I said, New York and Chicago, they don't care if you got earphones or on the phone. They don't leave you alone. That shit be annoying. But somebody asked me, what is it to do in Chicago? So this is why I talk about New York and Chicago a lot, because what I love about Chicago, I'm a New Yorker who lives in Chicago. I love both cities. I feel like where New York is strong, Chicago is weak. So for me, when it comes to social life and activities, Chicago to me is not the most interesting place. But it depends on what you're into. If you love house music, there's a lot of that. I personally hate house music. So I feel like whenever I go to a black event here, there's all this house music and I hate it. So I don't really, like a lot of things I'm into culturally and music-wise is more in New York. New York also has beautiful areas, but, and New York has hills in some places, like Chicago is very flat, which I don't like the flat, but the architecture in Chicago is to die for. So, Chicago has good bars. Yeah, I feel like everybody has good bars. I know Chicago's known for their bars, but I mean, to me, a bar is a bar is a bar. But there are good bars. There's good food. But I'm someone who likes to dance and stuff, and what I'm into when it comes to that, Chicago is not strong in. But you know, there's good museums. Yeah, see that this block has, I should have recorded a video. I was walking down the street yesterday in this other neighborhood close by that was, I was like, wanted me to be a photographer. It was so beautiful. But, okay, I feel like there are bugs biting me over here. Ugh. All kind of little gnats. But yeah, you see how these houses are pretty big. And these are all single family homes. And I'm gonna turn around. Every neighborhood, you know, there's like this mixture of buildings and houses. And I feel like Chicago does a very good job with that. And also mixing old with modern. I feel like in New York, every time they put a new modern building, it looks out of place, it looks bad. In Chicago, all I can tell you, the architecture, to me, they win the architecture contest. I just love to see beauty when I walk outside, you know. In this neighborhood, there are lots of butterflies, which I don't see butterflies that much anymore. See all kinds of butterflies, tons of bees, and bunny rabbits. So it's so cute to go outside and see bunny rabbits. Like, they say that Chicago has a rat problem, but that's a joke to me coming from New York, because New York really has a rat problem. They say that New York, LA, and Chicago are the most rat-infested cities. I could understand it with LA, because downtown LA is like the nastiest shit you've ever seen. But Chicago is so clean, like so clean. And I've seen rats, but it's rare. But the bunnies are so cute. It's so nice to come outside and see bunny rabbits happening everywhere. But you know, I travel to a lot of, even New Orleans. New Orleans is one of my favorite cities on earth. That city is super dangerous. And I think it's more dangerous than Chicago. So again, it's not just Chicago where people are getting shot all the time. And Chicago's not the worst of it. But yeah, I think I said what I was gonna say. I actually had like a point to this conversation. We just end up talking about the neighborhoods. And I feel like I didn't even do it justice with what I did show you. There's like so much more beauty. But let me focus on crossing the street. And so, yeah. There's there's a little bar over there. And yeah, this summer I'm going to record some videos in some, it looks like New York. It looks like New York a little bit, it does. I love all this greenery growing. Isn't that so beautiful? It looks like New York a little bit. I used to think it looked like New York, but like a cleaner version. But the more that you pay attention, it does, but it doesn't. Because, hello, how are you? Because one way you can tell the difference between New York and Chicago is that the architecture, see, oh, pretty building. I'm walking towards the lake, actually. The architecture in Chicago is way more diverse than New York. So New York has brownstones, and I love a New York brownstone. But Chicago has houses like that, but like even better and more varied. Like, and again, this neighborhood is nice, but there are some neighborhoods in Chicago that are like jaw-dropping beautiful. It does not look like New York at all, or any place I've ever seen before. There's also more greenery and herbs growing. Like, the whole city's not like this, but there are certain neighborhoods where there's a lot of flowers and plants, and way more than you'll see in New York. Hold on. Yeah. New York has a lot of greenery in the parks. Oh, look at these pretty flower arrangements. I love it. Beautiful. There's a lot of thought in Chicago to what's planted. New York has a lot of greenery in our parks. Like I feel like New York City parks are way better than Chicago parks. I don't like the parks in Chicago. They're very man-made and generic looking. New York parks look like the wilderness. So right down here, you have the lake, right? So the lake, so pretty. Yeah, but there's a lot of things about Chicago that does remind me of New York. But my goodness, you really have to see how beautiful. Like I really feel like what I just showed you was like 20%. Like on a level of 1 to 10, it's like a 2 compared to the type of beauty that you could see in the city. Like I said, I'm a big city girl. I love a beautiful city. Chicago's definitely one of the most beautiful cities I've seen. And I don't know if you can hear the birds, it's so peaceful. So I feel like most of the time when you come here, even if you're in the so-called bad parts, look at the bunny rabbit. Oh, look. See the bunny rabbit? See the cute little bunny rabbit? It just hopped past me. I love walking down the street and seeing little bunnies. Even the parts of Chicago that's supposed to be the hood where people get shot all the time, like if you didn't know that happened, you wouldn't think it because it's so peaceful, you know? So it sounds contradictory to say the city is so peaceful, but you hear about so much violence, but it really is though. And I love New York, and I never thought I would ever live someplace so long. I've been in Chicago for 4 years. I've lived in other cities. I've lived in Atlanta. I've lived in Jersey City and Pittsburgh. Never lived in any of them for no 4 damn years, okay? So anyhow, I'm about to go home. And hopefully you'll come to Chicago one day. See such beautiful, greenery around the entrance of my building. I love it. It's so thoughtful. Anyhow, have a good day and much love to Chicago, and have a good day, people. Bye.